was a gloomy day and I had to make the 4-hour trip back to the province. I moved out of the city last year, where I was born and raised, to a province that, although new to me, seemed like a sensible option. It's quieter, less crowded, less stressful. I work remotely anyway, so all I need is a decent internet connection and I'll be fine. On my way to my car, tiny drips of rain had started, although not enough to need an umbrella. On the expressway, however, the rain had gotten much heavier. Despite my wipers giving it their all, the road ahead remained a smudged blur. The sky was a flat white gray, with tree silhouettes breaking through the monotony every few meters. Apparently, admiring a Monet painting is far more enjoyable than driving through one. It's 3 in the afternoon, but visibility is quickly dwindling. An hour into the drive and I can vaguely make out silhouettes of cars. Underneath them were nothing but white clouds of rain spatters. I was getting nervous. I had drinks with my best friend the night before and my anxiety is shooting through the roof. This was expected. It has been a pattern I've observed following alcohol overconsumption. I still indulge in it every now and then, since I don't see my friends as often as when I lived in the city. But I have to admit that this rainstorm, coupled with that fact, is a terrible combination. I decided that as soon as I find the emergency parking, I'll pull over to the side carefully, lest I skid out of control or get run over by oncoming traffic. Luckily, all cars have turned their lights on, and the usual speeds have slowed down from the usual 80 to 100 range. I finally made it to the side of the road, and right on time too. The rain got heavier and heavier and heavier. I wondered how anyone could drive under these conditions, or whether anyone was driving at all. I can no longer see even the taillights through the white misty haze. I must have dozed off because the next thing I know, the rain had completely stopped and it was dark. But what I can't account for is that I am parked, not on the side of the expressway, but in a small clearing among some trees. I rubbed my eyes and saw a very familiar sight. I eventually realized I was on the side of the road right outside my new provincial property. I was home, and severely disoriented. How did I get here now when there were still 3 hours left of my drive? Did I go on autopilot? Was I still drunk? Despite my confusion, my desire to get my feet off the pedal and on the couch won. I figured I can worry about that 3-hour blackout or autopilot, or whatever the hell it was later. In front of the TV perhaps. I walked in and saw my helpers about 100 meters off, doing some work, clearing some overgrown grass. A bit of chatter amongst themselves. I thought it was odd for them to be working so late in the day. I carried on walking towards my cabin. I've planted plenty of tree seedlings all over, hoping to reforest the area which is nicely situated by the foot of a small sleepy hill. I smelled the freshly cut grass and fresh breeze. It was a really good change of environment, especially for someone coming from the crowded, polluted city. My pleasant thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps running towards my direction on the grass. I turned my head. Everything was the same except for that group of helpers seemed about 10 meters closer to me than when I last looked. Their chatter had paused for a second before starting again. My eyes are tired, and have never been that reliable in the dark anyway. I turned to continue my walk towards the cabin. There it was again, the sound of running in the grass. This time, Their lively chatter seemed to have evolved into malevolent whispers behind my back. I turned again. Despite having walked a few steps away from them, they seemed to have gotten a few meters closer to my location. This is silly, I thought. How would that happen? And what for? I turned my head away again. The sound of running came. The malevolent whispers hurrying closer. At the count of 5, I turned my head back around. They still had their backs on me. The whispers had stopped, but this time, they were a mere 30 meters away from where I stand. Are these guys pulling a prank on me? And how are they able to get so far so fast? I don't understand what's going on, but I definitely don't like it. What happens when they get to where I am? I don't want to find out. I couldn't feel my hands at this point, only the throbbing heartbeat in my throat. I turned my body completely towards them, facing them as I slowly walked backwards towards the cabin, keeping my eyes on them the whole time. I made it to the foot of the stairs and groped my way up the building. I shut the door while still staring at them through the glass. They haven't come closer and they eventually started dispersing. Some went to the kitchen east of my cabin, while the others went into their huts to rest. This brings us to where I am now. It's been several hours since I got here. It's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. The night has gone darker and the lights have gone out. Although I can't see out in the darkness surrounding my cabin, I hear their menacing whispers at the foot of the stairs. I don't want to close my eyes in fear of finding them hovering right above me when I wake up. I'm starting to get the feeling that although everything looks like my house, that I somehow made it to the wrong home. And it's been made apparent to me that I am not welcome here. I've double locked the door and made sure all the windows are tightly shut. I have my back up against the wall, my eyes fixed on the door, metal baton in hand. My plan is to wait for daybreak. I'll take my car back to the expressway to redo the drive, and be sure to make the full 4-hour trip.